everyone, and welcome to the Monomyth Diaries, a podcast where ordinary people get to share their hero's journey. I'm Mandy.
And I'm Karen, and we'll be your hosts.
We'll discover powerful insights, critical moments of growth, and much more.
Thanks for joining us. We all have a monomyth to share, and someone out there needs to hear it. So, Donnell, welcome back to our second episode, talking about your story, your monomyth. We ended on your pivotal moment where you're like, hey, I'm reading the Bible, I am volunteering, I'm serving, I have changed, I'm sober now, and you're gonna get me out of this jail sentence. And the judge was like, no. So what happened? What happened after all that? What happened in that moment?
In that moment, I went to jail. But I remember going to the cell, which isn't prison. It's just your next step. And I just didn't let myself think about it, really. I didn't pray. It just was kind of like, man, I have to wrap my head around going to prison. And so a couple days later, I'm on the chain. I'm going to prison. I'm on my way. And when you get to prison in Texas, they you get off this bus behind the prison, and they put your stuff down, and they strip you. And when they did that, it was like I was that person in the cell that was 2 years prior, that didn't know God, that was suffering from all the brokenness and hurt. And I wanted to cry, but you can't cry because you're around all these, people. But I remember going into this thing they call the chicken coop. Right? They call it a chicken coop because it's a big metal cage and it's got bunks in it, and they just stick all you in there, and they just talking. And I remember laying in the bunk and asking God, why? Why? Like, I've done these things. I've changed. It says that you deliver us, that you hear our heart, seek first ye the kingdom, and all things will be added. All those things, right? I'm like, man. And just like God says, learn to love him. I'm like, what? And today I realized that my relationship with God was selfish. It was all about me, all what I wanted, what I needed. And God is all about us. Don't get it wrong. He is, but he says, I bless you in order to be a blessing. And I wasn't a blessing to anybody else. I was like, man, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And so it was like crazy. So in that moment, I resolved to myself that I would not allow my location to dictate who I am. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to be on fire for God in prison, the same way I've been for the last 2 years leading up to this, right? That's not going to dictate who I am. It's not going to dictate my story. It's not going to dictate the decisions I make. And it was funny. I made that decision, and they called me out, and they put me in my tank, and they do mail call, and all of a sudden I got all these letters from people saying, hey, we're with you, and send you money because you want to eat ramen noodles and chips, and you want to get really overweight in prison. That's the goal, right? So not everybody coming out with muscles. They ain't doing that. They eating the honey buns and the ramen noodles. I'm telling you what they're doing.
It's not like TV.
No, it's not like TV. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no bulk man. There's some mad people working out, right? Yeah, but most people eating ramen noodles. You know what I'm saying? I promise you.
I grew up on those. I know what you're talking about.
See, I can't stand them now. My wife and my son love them things. I don't even.
I grew up eating them too.
The sodium in them things. I get a headache thinking about it.
I'm gonna have a stroke thinking about them.
No, they're that bad. And so.
Wait, so who's sending you letters?
Oh, people from church. Okay. So just random people from church. They got like a whole new system now from the last time. I was like, they can do like email and then print them, and then they'll send them. They'll bring them to your thing, and like people have sent me money. So there's receipts, and just like God was like, man, I got you. Like in this season, I got you, and so I was like, all right, cool, man. And they have church in prison, and they have Bibles, and so somebody sent me this nice Bible. It's the Bible that I take to church every Sunday, and I challenge people. So I'm very to my wife. I said, I stop picking on people like this, but I asked people, where's your Bible? And I explained to them like this right here. Like I hold now. I can't really use it because I open it and pages go flying. It's not bound. Yeah, it's not bound anymore or anything. But so you have those, and so I just started reading, and I had people sending me like, as I was doing my time, they were sending me like concordances and all the books. Like so, I'm just eating all I can. Yeah. And I'm a learner. I pride myself on learning. And so I like I was talking earlier, I like cultural context because the Bible was not written to us. People have this crazy, oh, that Bible was written to me. No, it wasn't. You came 2,000 years old. Like, it was written for us.
Yes.
But not to us.
Yes.
And that kind of like, and when I remember the moment I realized that was this big switch in my purpose, right? Because I was no longer looking at like the answers to my prayers. I was looking at the instruction for my life. And I was like, oh, it isn't if I can do it, it's when he will do it. And oh man, then I started I ended up in a faith-based dorm that was really a place they hid all the child molesters and stuff at, man. And so I started leading these people who had sexual cases. And God said, now you're amongst the unlovable. Because in prison, they hurt these guys. Right?
Yeah. So you got paired?
I was put in a dorm.
Wow.
And it was a faith-based dorm. But a lot of them go there for protection. Like, hey, I can hide. I'm a Christian. People are going to mess with me. It's going to only be Christians in the dorm, so they're not going to beat me up, all that kind of stuff. Right. Yeah, and then I remember the first guy's name is Christian. He actually is, he helps lead worship at his father's church in Columbia now. But he came to me and he was like, hey, I need to be honest with you. My charge is soliciting sex from a minor. I just didn't want to hide anything. And so me and him started talking and praying and reading the word together. We became great friends, and I have several along the way, but God really started to change my heart for people, right? And in the process, I started dealing with some things. God was able to deal with me on, hey, why do you feel like you always have to hustle or be the best or work harder? What about you needs to be better than the next person? Or what about you needs to make more money? What about you always turn to drugs and alcohol instead of facing the problem or being willing to deal with conflict and hard conversations? Why did you run? So as I'm learning and teaching and growing, God is stirring these things and working them out in me. I remember I went to parole. So I got shipped from my unit. I was comfortable, man. I was ODR cook, so I'm cooking real food and eating good. I didn't have to eat no ramen noodles. I was all right. And they shipped me to the Lopez unit, which is in Edinburgh, Texas, in the summer, right? So this is down by the Mexican border. It's hot. It's devil hot. And they shipped me there. So now I'm 6 hours away from my family instead of 3. And I get a set off from parole. My parole gets denied. Right? So you ain't going home. And I'm and then I got a really good job. Right, so I was like, oh, well, what the heck? At least I get to go outside and sit in AC and work. And they took my job and said I was an escape risk. All these things happened. Then I come in from commissary and God's like, you got to give your commissary away. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this day is it literally is all one day. I was like, this is the worst day ever. God, this is not the time for me to be giving my food away. And so, but I'm obedient and I give my food away. And so I'm sitting there, and first they do mail call, and that's when you get your receipts for commissary. And I get a receipt, and somebody sent me $1,000. Right? Oh. So I was like, and what's the funny thing is they call commissary, they go by spend, right? You can spend $75 a month. And so I was on let's say this is a Tuesday, the spend changed, and they were still running our dorms. So I was able to go back on Wednesday and buy everything I wanted to get. So it was kind of neat. But then I got on the phone call that evening with the young lady who took me originally to church. I get on a phone call with her, and we end up calling the unit classification for all of the prison system. So I was had a certain security level, and I had a risk on my file that went everywhere with me in the system. So we ended up on the phone with him. He removed the risk, made me a trustee, and put me on chain to the only AC unit in the system. So the next 2 days later, I was leaving that unit. But I had been there for a couple of weeks, and I got to have a conversation with this young man who was getting ready to go home. And he was like, man, I want to be, this was another faith-based dorm. He was like, man, I want to serve God when I get home, but man, all the churches, and I don't think I'm going to fit in. I was able to say, hey, here's a church. Go to this church. And It was a church that I knew the pastor because I had been plugged in for 2 years. And so he gets out, and a couple months later, I'm on the phone with the young lady, and she says, "Hey, somebody wants to talk to you." She hands a phone, and it's this young man.
Wow.
Yes, and I was like, that was an assignment. Once I completed the assignment, you were able to move me to my next season.
Wow.
And so I started realizing, like, paying attention to what God is doing around you so you can do what God, I'm about purpose, right? I'd rather people move in purpose than where I tell people all the time when they're like, "Oh, I'll serve wherever." No, where in your heart is that place where you're like, I'm tied to this thing. I said, that's where I need you, because you're going to do that far better than you'll do anything else as a task. And so I started to really feel God's purpose in my life. And so, yeah. And so I'm on this thing and I'm living my good life now, but I got kind of caught in a rut. Like, I was comfortable. I'm in an AC unit. So this unit was actually the trustee farm for the other unit I was on. So I knew the kitchen captain, all the officers. And so I had become the regional caterer. So now I'm going to a free world, which means non-prison, like location, and cooking for meetings and all this stuff for like higher ups in the prison system when they would come to town. Oh, I was living my best life. But yeah. And so then I remember I go to college and I have to go do the practicum. So I'm in San Antonio. I'm working at the San Antonio Food Bank in their catering department, cooking food for daycares and parties and events and all that kind of stuff. And God is moving and I'm learning and I'm growing and he's opening doors. And I finished my practicum and I end up in Richmond, Texas on Jester 3, like right here off of Harlem Road. Right, the prison. That's right there.
The one that says don't pick up hitchhikers.
Yes. Yes. So you know where the school is on the right? I was at that prison on the left. There's the trustee camp there. And I'm coming up for parole. Well, what a lot of people don't know is on the other side of 99, there's another prison. Called Jester 2. And it still is. When I went, it's a faith-based program. It's like a Bible college on steroids. Like they get you up at 5 a.m. You're in the chapel at 5 a.m. for study and prayer time, meditation time. You're in classes. You either work the first half of the day, classes the second half, or you're in classes the first half of the day, work the second half. And so I was coming up from parole. My parole attorney was like, "Man, I'm going to get you out. You're good, man. Maybe 90 more days." And I'm praying. And I worked for the maintenance department for all 3 units at the time.
Right.
And God was like, "I want you to go to that program." I'm like, "I'm going to go home." The program, I started researching the program 18 months.
Oh, so 90 days or 18 months.
And I'm like, "Oh, I can't do that one. I gotta go."
Because how long have you been in during this time period?
So I've been in 3.5 years.
3.5 years.
Yeah, right at 3. Let's say right at 3. And I remember walking, like didn't know what I was going to do. Like walking into my parole hearing.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at them, and they're like, "Do you have anything that you want to say?" And I was like, "Hey, I've prayed about it, and if you can't give me an FI 18, which is that program,
right,
then just set me off until y'all are ready to send me there, because that's what God wants." And I walked out.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
30 days later, I get moved to that unit for that program.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was a game changer. I walk in and they do these groups, like a group of 50 to 60 men.
Yeah.
And I go in first day of our group. So I did a little early, and they kind of knew me because I oversaw like the maintenance department. So I ordered all the stuff they needed. So I had some favor with captains and majors and stuff. And so I walked into the program director, and he looked at me. He says, "You're about to pastor my next group." And I was like, "Nah, bro, I'm trying to go to the house." I'm like, listen, I'm good. And he goes, "Yeah, you'll pastor the next group. Every group has one, and you're my next one." I was like, so I ended up pastoring this group of 50 men for 2 years almost. Yeah, some of them I mentor to this day. And I got out, I got a scholarship. being in the program. I went to work outside in Fort Bend Road and Bridge and helped with the county stuff. I made stop signs, street signs, all the signs. I made signs for the county, and it was just a lot of favor, a lot of growth. They had church and chapel and like churches all came in, and this program is all volunteer ran. So like you really start to acclimate yourself to being around people that's not in prison. And I remember I walked out July 17th, 2018.
Okay.
And yeah. And I was like, man. And I said, God, I'm all yours. Let's roll. And a lot of people in prison say that. Get out and say, man, God, I'm all yours. Use me. And then when it doesn't go the way, they didn't deal with all the stuff. But I put in work, man. And I said, God, I'm in. Let's roll. Let's crank this thing up. First stop I made was a church. I went to, there was this church in downtown Houston called Elevate People, and I went to their offices, and I met with their pastor, and I was like, I'm in, bro. Put me in the game. I'll set up, tear down, I'll do whatever you need me to do. Let's go. And that's what I did. And I just started grinding because it looks different in the world, and it did. And then I married that girl that I was on the phone with. That took me that first time, too.
Really?
Wait.
The one that was Jehovah's Witness?
Yes.
Who's now converted?
Yes.
And you've been maintaining contact with her?
Oh, yeah. She came to like every weekend she visited, especially when I was in Richmond. She visited. She knew my family. Like,
This big name?
no.
Oh, the porn star. Oh, okay.
No, it is not VNA. And so I quickly grew in ministry. Obviously, I'm a charismatic person, right? So I was a missions pastor, and so I loved being in the streets. Plus, I didn't have much fear. So I was running in crack houses, dragging people out, doing homeless events. I'm doing them, and then God has blessed me with the ability to share vision.
Right.
Right. So it's easy to get people focused on a purpose, and then build them to build a team. And so it's just a thing. And if I told you I learned it somewhere, I'd be lying. I'd be freestyling because everybody's different. But I was good, and so my ministry was growing. I started helping her with her career and building teams and doing stuff and helping her recruit people. And the enemy just got in, and her idea of life was vastly different than my idea of life. And there's some very hurtful things said. But yeah, we very quickly realized we were in two different directions, two different things. And so I moved out, left, and I remember when I told y'all when I'm done, I'm kind of done kind of thing. I was done, and now there were some things. We went to counseling. It just wasn't, you can't do all the work for everybody, right? And so, yeah, we went and got divorced, which was weird because now I stepped down from ministry because I'm like, dang, I'm getting divorced, I'm in ministry. And I remember I left Elevate, and my friend, Pastor Rob, the one that led me to Christ, has a church in Spring Branch. I was like, bro, I called him. I was like, hey, I'm going to come sit at your church where I heal and feel better. And I remember he said, hey, I need you to come to this meeting. And I'll go to this meeting. He's like, hey, you guys, and I don't even know what the meeting is, right? And he's like, I get there, it's a staff meeting, right? It's always volunteer staff. He's like, oh, I just want to introduce the next director of Next Steps and New Believers. He'll be helping us build up these new believers and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, man, I wonder who he's hiring, right? And he says my name, and I'm like,
it's quite a treatment program, God.
and he said, listen, your pain does not dictate God's purpose for your life. And he did not call you, he didn't call you to sit on the side. He's called you in the game. And he disciples me. He's like my spiritual father. And so he's like, so I can't in good faith let you come here and sit in power. And he's like, we can work through this. And it was probably the best thing ever for me in that season, because a lot of times when we're going through something, we want to isolate and hold this stuff in and do these things. And you can isolate in a room of people. You know what I'm saying? And so it didn't allow me to do that. And so it was probably one of the great things. Soon, like it wasn't even September to April. I met V in April. I slid in her DMs. You know what I'm saying?
You told that story in church. It was great.
I did. I slid in her DMs, and man, we just hit it off. But uh, we didn't know each other. Like, I mean, and I say that because I'm thinking about the process, and you'll hear the process, and you'll be like, "Oh, dang!" So I slid in her DMs for her birthday in April, which is April 16th.
Can I back up for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say did you know her at some point?
I met her in passing
That's
in
what I
2009.
Because you said you were friends on Facebook.
Yes.
And I
So
thought, well,
in one of my freedom stints, she was dating a guy that I knew from high school. And so like me and him hung out, and I was like that guy women didn't want their boyfriends or husbands to hang out with. They're like, don't go with Donnell because that's not gonna end up good. So I had met her once in passing. Yeah.
And this is the context how she knew you.
Yeah, we were friends on Facebook, and she'll tell you she watched my journey. I used to like try to invite her to church, but she was getting married, engaged, and stuff like that. But I probably best it didn't happen when it happened because I probably was being very like wanting to something inappropriate. But
Right.
yeah, so she kind of watched the journey, and so she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna entertain. This isn't like it's COVID, so like we can't go anywhere." And so yeah, we started talking, but probably a weekend, we were like, hey, if this is going to be something, then let's just be 100 and transparent. We ain't got time for games. So we immediately started praying together. Immediately started reading the Bible, doing devotionals. That was April, May. Right before May, I was supposed to go on a trip with my family. My mom is a very, she's like one of those people that COVID is the worst thing in the world type person. We have these extremes of people. Yeah. COVID was bad. I'm not taking that away. Yeah. Right? But she's like one of them things, like it's from the Antichrist himself, people. So she wasn't going no. She still be trying to like complain about it all the time. I'm more scared of the flu at this point. But they canceled our trip we were supposed to go on. The kind of world was kind of opening back up so you could travel a little bit. Yeah. And so I asked V, I said, hey, can I come see you? She was like, yeah. And I was like, what? Go down. Not in the back. Yeah. Right? Because I actually called her. I was like, hey, we're not having sex. I'm getting my own hotel room. Like, I just want to say that. And so I go, and God tells me, I see it, and God's like, that's your wife. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I leave, and he tells me again on the way home. I'm like, okay. And at the time, I didn't know, and I actually didn't know this until after we were married, that God had told her a week later, hey, that's your husband. Right? So I didn't know this. He told me that's my wife. So I go home, I buy a ring. I go back the next month in June and propose. She says yes. That's June 27th. I go back June 11th, 12th, and move her to Houston, or July 12th. Move her to Houston, and then we get married on August 20th.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's a whirlwind courtship.
You were obedient.
Yes.
A divine one. Divine courtship.
Yeah. It was, man, it was, guys, because we knew the one thing, and we tell people now that we knew we didn't love each other. We didn't know each other. But we knew that God said we were for each other and that our marriage was for something bigger. We just really didn't even know. Like, I stepped down from ministry. She was like, yeah, I'm not hearing none of that. Like, I was like, we playing in church. She was like, no, we ain't. I don't even know you like that. Like, so I stepped completely down from ministry. I didn't even give Pastor Rod an opportunity to talk me out. I was like, hey, I'm done. I'm chilling. I'm married. And I had resolved at that time in my life that I would be happy being a husband and a father because Noelle was 4. I was good, man. I got a job. I had a company vehicle, company credit cards, salary. I was like, oh, I'm living a good life. You know what I'm saying? Like, we bought a house in Seven Meadows. So I'm like living my life. Oh, I was like, man, I was good. And I was. I think about it, and to be honest, probably some of the easiest, most loving times in my life. We bought y'all seen the little adventure book for couples and for families, and it comes with the Polaroid camera, and And what it is it has like these like.
And you scratch it off?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have that for couples and families, and I'm all of a sudden I'm wearing matching pajamas at Christmas. I never even used to wear pajamas. I'm wearing matching pajamas at Christmas, and just like God had for me had answered my prayer. Like I was good. Right, and so we're just watching church online because you can use it for an excuse at this point. They had to open them back up, but it's online now. Everybody's streaming, boy. So we're watching online, but we both love worship, and God was really like pressing in on us about, hey, you need to be somewhere with somebody. So we went to visit Union, which is my friend Pastor Rod's church, and just those were my people, but they weren't her people. Right, and it's in Spring Branch, and we're in Richmond. And my wife, in this season, was very much about convenience. Like that wasn't convenient for her, and she didn't know the people, so she was like, again, we weren't in love. So like, I'm like, and we had many talks. I was like last on her totem pole of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was worried about her and Noel, and now we're building what we get. And so we went to visit Thrive. And God had told me, hey, I need you to come here. And I was like, hey, I want to go white people. No. But
I've been there. That's not true.
no, it's because you came after I was there.
Oh, is that
No,
so at
why?
the time.
At the time, no, there was one, and they know it, and it's hilarious. And there'd been some more time, but in this particular time, there was one black person. And her name was Cece. I love Cece to death.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't. I just wasn't feeling it. Like, it wasn't. I was like, nah. Went home, and we a couple months. We like back to watching it online. Like we back comfortable. You ain't gotta go nowhere. You can chill. And then we went back to Thrive, and I pride myself on being as obedient as I can to God. And it helped that Noel comes out. He's holding his paper. He's learning scripture and all the things. And so I was like, all right. My wife asked me to call. We're supposed to come here, right? I was like, God just put the nail in the coffin.
Hey. By the way, how old is Noel?
At this time?
Yeah, at this time.
He's 4.
4, okay.
And
Sorry, who is Noel?
my son.
Okay.
So it's V&A's son from her prior marriage. Her husband before passed away when he was 5 months.
Aww.
And so, yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Right.
So,
Maybe we'll get her.
I was about to say, you might need to talk to her. Like, that story is like, see, mine is like like, I did this to myself. My poor decision-making skills and lustfully desires got me to where I was at. Hers was done to her, her story, but her in brokenness in the process through counseling and God and life, that where she is now, like, is from where she was in 2017 or 16. It's amazing. But it's this point, I know now, looking back, God is now back in our life, and he's shifting and he's moving, right? Like, I know now I can see strategically, like, all right, I need to do this because I know. And so we go to Thrive. And again, I'm not in ministry. And I tell Thrive, I'm not coming to do church. I'm coming to sit with my family and chill. And they're like, oh, we will tell people they won't bother you. You'll be good. All the things, right? And so I remember going to a small group, and they were like, hey, can we just talk to you for a minute? I just need some help with some groups. Just opinion on it. It's my heart, right? And I start helping, and I just help them out a little bit. But a couple months in, the pastors reach out to me, and they're like, hey, can we have coffee? And I'm like, listen, I didn't cuss nobody out. I ain't going off on nobody. So they're like, no, we just need to talk to you. And a week prior, my wife asked me, random, have you ever thought about working with students or kids?
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, I am a convicted felon. No church let me around their kids. I was like, the first thing they send is a background check. I was like, man. And so I go to this meeting, and they're like, God put on our heart that you're supposed to help us with our next generation. We need you to help us take over our families, our kids, our youth. And I was like, I just start sobbing because now I know that God is doing something. And so I do, and I'm really great at teams, and now I'm in my like zone, but it was part-time, so I could keep my like company car and salary and do this too, right?
Right.
And so I was in my jam, and so started doing it. I did it for a long time. I forget how long until they hired somebody who was much younger and cooler than me, but which is hard because I'm old and cool.
Yeah.
But then they were like, "Hey, we don't want you to leave staff. We want you to stay." I'm like, by this time I had already quit the salary job. My wife convinced me to quit my job and to start my own little real estate company, and so that's going, and it's like booming, and I'm thinking I'm finna step down from ministry. I'm finna go full guns into real estate. Like we're gonna be wealthy and all the things, right? And God was like, no, no, and so we stayed in there. And the thing is I never was like, at this point, I never was allowing God or I wasn't living to what God had purposed me for. If that makes sense.
Yes.
I'm living. Here's what I call it, right? I believe, and you kind of see it I'm not don't mean to sound churchy or over, but you have Abraham and Sarah in the Bible, right? And God says, hey, so Abraham is a patriarch. He is the oldest son, right? And so he is going to take care of his family. He's going to take care of the land. They're wealthy. They're good, right? God says, hey, I need to holler at you. I need you to go. Abraham's like, huh? God's like, I need you. Where am I going? Don't worry about you. Go. So now, Abraham has a choice. God didn't make him go.
Yeah.
God asked him to go.
Yeah.
And I think and there's these times in our life where God says, hey, you can stay in my permissive will. I give you permission to live this life. I give you time. It was like, Donnell, I give you permission to be a father. I give you permission to be a husband. I give you permission to have your own business and to be financially stable. God, you can have all that. Yeah. But then he says, hey, there's something greater. There's something divine that I need you to do. That's what he did with Abraham. But if you go, you'll have more descendants. You have, and I think now, when I think about descendants, I don't think about like family members. I think about when I get to heaven and I open my eyes, there's going to be a sea of people that are there because I had a conversation, because I chose to go this route versus this route.
Spiritual family.
Yes, which is far out, not numbers. Like, and so there came this time in Thrive. Where it was like, so I took a community pastor position. I did a little bit of real estate, and then God comes in with a wrecking ball. It's like, it's time. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that because there's a phrase you said a few times, is that you said, God said no. And then you've repeated it a few times. And I have to ask, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm dying to ask, what is your heart and spirit in those moments? Because I saw you obey and you accepted it, but
man, I would love to say that I was like this gracious like person, but I knew that in that moment, like ultimately I had to know in that moment of obedience, I may not know now, right? But later, that hope is what I hold on to. The doubt, the fear, like, ain't a lot. Come on, man, listen, I pastor a church for hundreds of people now. That's crazy, it's hundreds. Like, but like, and I still have that when I'm asking God for something. Like, it's still there. If he says no, I'm like, what you mean no? What is like, it hurt. You're scared. Why are you saying no for something I feel you want me to have? Right. But the thing is, I mean, he's good for it.
Yeah.
He's good for the argument. He's good for the hurt. He's good for the pain. Right. And I think what he knows about me though is I can take it on the chin. Right. Like I get no. I'm gonna keep going. I ain't happy, but I'm gonna keep going. Right?
May I say that is one of the truest examples of faith, because that's a lot of trust. And I don't feel good.
No,
but you're doing it.
Listen, so let me tell you what happened. So Sunday, it's windy outside. And And so we have a tent.
I saw the tent.
Did you see it after?
Mhm.
Okay. But
Fill
you know
me
what
in.
it did.
No, fill me in.
So the kids are putting it like on the front of the building, and I'm like, nah, go put it over here by the parking lot. And I didn't know that somebody told them not to put the thing up at all.
Okay.
I don't like my leaders do most of like the leading. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not that micromanager. I just happen to be walking around praying, right?
Mhm.
Well, before first service, the wind grabs the tent, flies it across the parking lot, into someone's vehicle. So think about the tent you saw.
I saw it. It was crumpled.
Exactly. It crumpled into somebody's car.
Oh my.
And they tried to hide it from me, but I overheard them. And I was like, and so I was just like, God, like, I'm a church plant. Like, I don't, like, I literally just got my own insurance the week before. So I was like, but I just like, in that moment, I was like, God, like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
Like, why is this happening to me? Like, I don't know what that person is gonna say. Luckily, the tent looked worse than the car. The car just had a scratch. I mean, it was a deep scratch, but it was a scratch nonetheless.
Yeah.
But in that moment, God was just like, "Hey, I got this. Don't just do you, man." And I'm like, "Could this happen censored?" Like, but and I mean, I'm not calling an insurance company, and it's not as cheap as I would like to have it to be fixed, but I'm getting it fixed, and we can afford to, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
But I had to trust God for the rest of that service. I could have let that moment dictate me, but learning to that all those other steps of being obedient made that moment easy. Like I know what you can do. I know what you can do, and so me and my wife found ourselves in this season where we have our real estate company, and I'm pastoring at the church and going on mission trips and doing speaking at high schools and doing all this stuff, and God says,
Yeah, you said wrecking ball.
that's his wrecking ball. Like, have you ever heard like a whisper from God and you're like, nah, dog. But it just in the like we were like and so we're like trying to figure out, and a family came to our house and was like, hey, we think you're being disobedient to God. So like you gotta be a brave person to come sit in my living room and tell me I'm disobedient to God. I'm just not that dude.
Yeah.
Like, but as soon as they said it, I'm like, okay, what do you mean? And they're like, we feel like he wants you to plant a church.
Oh.
My wife and I just start crying. And we told them, oh, we'll pray about it. And they left, and we looked at each other and we were like, for real. And she was like, oh, I'll help you. I'll support you. You got this. God is calling you to this. Good luck. But God had told me, you're going to do it together. And so we prayed for like 9 months. Kept doing serving. Went and talked to our lead pastors. I talked to my spiritual father about it and said, hey, let's pray. Let's commit to prayer for 9 months and see what God says, right? I think like when I watch them destroying the building with the wrecking ball, how the thing just swings back and forth, just catches pieces, and pieces are falling down, and it looks all jacked up, and it's painful in some areas, and it's a wreck in others, and it's some things in our life are crumbling, and it was insane, but it still came to the same conclusion of I need you to plant a church. And so we're like, okay. And so we started this journey of meeting with pastors and people and organizations that could train us and help us. And like really thinking, what would a church look like? Oh, so funny joke. So on the day we say, hey, this is our church, right? We're walking out, we're walking in the parking lot, looking around, and my wife leans over and goes, we got to pray up on some minorities. And so we did, we went out and got them. And I was telling everybody, come on, man, always front and center. Like, I'm take pictures of me. Like, put me out there. Let's go. Let's get some people. People go where they can see themselves.
Correct.
Like,
Representation matters.
is that man? And I was like, oh, we're gonna be real. Thank God we're diverse.
I
Like,
love that. I
you
mean,
know what I'm saying?
yes, I can. I love that. That's so true about your church. I can see myself there.
Yeah.
Because I can see myself in the congregation.
Yeah. So imagine if you can't. And so, but like we really started to think like me and her. Somebody maybe was like being shooting at us on social media, and it was like, I bet he's half black and white, and she's Hispanic, and they got a little mixed kid that's just cute as can be. And I'm like, all right, you judge us like that, huh? And I mean, he described us perfectly,
I was
right?
gonna say it was pretty spot on.
Yeah. So, but I started thinking to myself, and then now we're dreaming about this, right? Like all my life, all through my hurt, through my pain, through my salvation, through my studies and my walks in prison. I'm not gonna say they weren't meaningless, but they weren't about what God was purposing me for, what the hurt was for, what the hurt and the brokenness, the fruit of it was gonna be. None of it. We at this point, I know now, like none of it had produced what God needed and wanted produced. Does that make sense? Like, and so, but we started thinking we don't want people to just be at a place where they see themselves. We want them to be at a place where they can know themselves. They can be in a family that understands them, that there's nothing they're going to be able to say that's going to rock them, shake them. Or when people tell me, oh, my mess, I'm like, seriously, dog, you waste my time for that. But we want to be that home that life transformation can happen.
Yes.
Healthy change can happen through a process. So many churches are like, come here, let me lay hands on you, and the Lord is going to heal you. And I'm not saying the Lord cannot do miraculous healings. However, what we miss when we read scripture is that Roman soldier had to load up his slaves, his servants, his people, get those 20 to 50 people in transit to get to Jesus, to ask for a healing for a daughter, get Jesus to go back. There's a process in this thing that people don't see that nowadays looks like, hey, I got to go to that counselor and unload some of this junk that I got. I have to go to this AA meeting, NA meeting, Celebrate Recovery to unload this junk so God can do something. Because I tell people, I don't go to meetings anymore. I'm not even against drinking anymore. But I had to go somewhere that can help me unpack that stuff. Because I could not, God says, hey, I'm going to heal you through that place. I'm working in that place. I'm working in them people. And don't limit me, right? If God can use some mud and spit, he can use some people, man. I'm telling you. Look, in the Old Testament, he used a donkey. My homeboy Pastor Rob would just say, you know what I'm talking about?
Balaam's donkey.
Yes. And so we want to be that place. Or I don't know. See, I'm not saying that like we don't exist. We are that place where people can come and be like, man, I'm safe here. This morning I messaged me or one of my teams, and I felt led to do it today. Every comment card almost. So I knew you, so I didn't have to call you. We contacted a person, not one of my 9 church phone numbers I got. So there it is, see? So like, we contact each person, and like today I contacted her, she's like, I want to know about baptisms. I want to know about serving in baptisms, but there's so much I have to learn and so much I have to clean up. And I'm like, I said, listen, girl. I said, man, all of baptism is an outward expression of your inward devotion. You're already devoted. Jesus doesn't need you to clean up nothing to give him glory. Now, you just got to wait till we have baptisms, but it doesn't have anything to do with where you're at. I was like, you're a part of a family that's going to celebrate you being in the process. The fact that you're walking it out, all of heaven is rejoicing. I said, so man, that's the place we are. And God started to say, now you see what the enemy meant for evil. Yeah, there was a whole nother path I could have took, right? Like, but God knew that I wasn't going to hear a gospel message until I was dangling in my 40s. And he's like waited, and I imagine, because I know the Father God is that he's sitting there crying when I'm going through this stuff. And in the moment I surrendered myself, say, I know now that when I was in that cell and I asked to die, I died.
You died
God
yourself.
stepped into that cell.
Wow.
And he sat in this corner of my heart, and he just took the corner. So a seed could get there. And he just sat there. And when that seed hit, he's just back. God, man, I could just, the whispers when I wanted to quit or give up or just throw in the towel or to do this or do that whisper that he just sat in there and he watered it as people were watering it, and he just added in it. And then finally, man, in 2023, we announced we're planting a church, right? The church that we have now, Your Story Church. And I believe we stepped into purpose. We stepped into what God's divine will is for our life, because I would love to tell you it's easy, but I've suffered more spiritual attack and frustrations and hurt in the last 5 weeks than I have in the last 7 years.
Wow. Because your church started 5 weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, when my wife will take me and my wife sat up last night 2 hours longer than I like to stay up.
Right.
Yelling and screaming and crying. And this was a healthy conversation. Right? But the enemy had for 5 weeks caused this division in our home. And we were just running after what God had for us, but we were running from each other. And we weren't like aligned. No, I've been preaching about being aligned and centered and mission driven.
Don't let the foxes in.
But we had to sit there and and realize this word wasn't for the church. This word was for us. Now the church got the benefits from it, but this word was for this home that he needs centered on him. This home that he needs mission driven, focused on this divine purpose that he has called us to. Because if you veer to the left or the right, or you, like we talked about, letting little foxes in, if you let these foxes in that are nipping at your stuff, then it'll ruin. And that's what was kind of happening, right? And so it has been so crazy to step into divine purpose and see God use my prison time and all these things to do what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Your story is so amazing. I think you're doing such fabulous things.
We're trying.
Well, I think we're going to wrap up for that today. Right?
Yes.
In our next episode, we're going to talk about your wounds.
Okay.
The gifts and benefits.
This is Mandy's favorite moment, like her favorite episode. I'm not sure why.
I do love the wounds. I don't know. I just love hearing about the benefits that not only you as a person get, but all of, for you, your congregation, the lives you're touching, the people that,
Absolutely. I'm excited.
I think about like how, like, you reference Galatians 5, I'm like, oh, fruits of the Spirit. And like lagoons is like a harvest.
It is.
And that's like all that gritting through, and God said no, made it all worth it.
Absolutely. It has been amazing. And I look forward to share what the last 5 weeks have looked like. Because there's fruit from that. There's wins from that. There's things, practical things that have taken place that are amazing. And I'm like, seriously, God, like, and I'll share something I realized in the next episode.
Awesome. All right, thank you.
Donnell, thank you for sharing your journey so passionately. It's a testament to the way you live out your faith.
In our next episode, we can't wait to hear all about the incredible boons and blessings that have come from your obedience to God.
Thank you for joining us on the Monomyth Diaries. If this episode resonates with you or someone you know, we'd love for you to share it and spread the inspiration.
Don't forget to follow us wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube to stay connected.
We'd appreciate it if you could take a moment and rate and review the podcast. It helps us reach more people with stories of transformation and growth.
You can visit us at monomythdiaries.com or text us directly from the show notes to reach out and keep the conversations going.
Until next time, heroes, let's journey together through our monomyths.